All right, welcome to another trading analytics video. There's a lot of volatility in today's market as we hover right around all-time highs. Today I'll be covering the indexes and try to bring clarity to the current market. Kicking things off for us is the S&P 500, and this is a classic case of being in a bull trend. We're basically making higher lows. We're above all of our moving averages, and the one thing I do like about the current chart on the S&P 500 is that we got our nice little move up here, and I'll try to illustrate it the best I can. Got a nice move up here, and now we're kind of seeing a little bit of a consolidation here, right, as the market tries to figure out its next move. And again, through this consolidation, I can easily see us, putting in, a brand new all-time high somewhere around 615 to 620. Also, keep in mind that we do have Jerome Powell speaking tomorrow. We also have CPI and PPI data as well as jobs. And so, again, that could be the catalyst that, breaks us out of the range that we've been in throughout this consolidation here. Now, you also notice that we did put an inside candle in here today. And so there's probably a big move around the corner or a decent sized move around the corner. And again, with us being in a bull trend and above all of our moving averages, I would assume that the next move is going to be higher. Now, again, we do have this little resistance here going across, which is right around our all-time highs. So as we get closer to 611, I do believe this is going to be very important for us to break in order for us to make that new high that I was referring to. And so this is the level I'm going to be watching, this little line right here that I have across, going across right here. And again, you guys can easily draw it in on your charts as well. Once we break above this, I think it's, smooth sailing towards 615 to 620. So again, we do have a nice consolidation going on in the S&P 500. And again, assume that this will yield higher prices while we are in this bull trend. Jumping over to the NASDAQ 100 or QQQ, much like the S&P 500, we are in a very classic bull trend. I did circle these out for you guys so you guys can see them here. We're making a lot of higher lows. And, this one's a little bit more confusing, or not confusing actually, but it could confuse a lot of newer traders out there with the situation that the NASDAQ is in. So we are making higher lows. That's great. But at the same time, we also have this resistance going across here that I have drawn out. And I will try my best to illustrate that for you guys here. So you can see we've been rejecting from here several times over, right? A total of 4 times so far. And I can try to get this in for you guys. It's a horrible drawing, but bear with me, right? And so, again, you can see that this is negatively sloping. So you can see that these could yield or be considered lower highs, right? If you wanted to consider it that, right? But at the end of the day, this is a bull trend, right? And I'll tell you guys exactly why I would remain on the bull overall and not pay attention too much to this downward sloping resistance that we have here. Because, again, we're making higher lows, as I've already stated, and we're also above all our moving averages. And so, again, with that being said, I do give the edge to the bulls here in this particular scenario here. Now, obviously, again, you don't want to blindly ignore this resistance that we have here because this easily could send us, heading lower, to put in or to test this lower trend line here. And so, again, I do believe that the bulls will have the upper hand here in this particular trend. Again, but I don't want to, completely ignore the fact that we are sitting right around resistance. So again, for the bulls here, the number one thing that they're going to need to do, and especially with the volume that we should be getting, whether that's with Powell, CPI or PPI, the number one thing they're going to need to do is break above this resistance here and start looking for higher prices somewhere in the 540s. So again, as long as we can break above this level here, I think it's all systems go for the bulls. If we continue to reject from here, then obviously we could, like I mentioned already, we could easily come and sell back down to this lower trend line here, which would still keep us generally in a bull trend. However, again, I think the bulls will try to avoid this scenario here and just get that simple breakout right over resistance. So we'll obviously have to wait and see. Once we get through some data and obviously Powell and all of that, we'll see how all of this pans out for the NASDAQ 100. All right, I wanted to quickly put this stock on your radar, which is ticker symbol PLTR or Palantir Technologies, which is ran by Alex Karp. He's obviously running a very good company here. I think they're debt-free. I think this company IPO'd right around $10 per share. And here we are at $81, right? And so this is basically 800% return if you grabbed it around the IPO price. I know in 2022, this name did dip right, I think it went down to like $6. And if you grabbed it there, you're a very lucky guy or gal out there. So congratulations to you for anyone who loaded down in those areas. But that's not why we're here. We want to talk about the particular trade idea that is on the table here. So on the daily chart, we do have a very beautiful inverted head and shoulder, and we are starting to get that bull breakout. The previous high was right around 84.79. And so I do think Palantir has an opportunity to retest these highs and possibly exceed them. Keep in mind, we do have earnings on Monday. Now, history says that they typically beat on their earnings. But again, I'm not really sure how the valuation is on this particular company, and how frothy it might be or how expensive it might be. I haven't looked into all of that before I spoke about this. However, just from a pure chart standpoint, again, if the NASDAQ 100 and some of those other indexes seem to do well, that generally acts as a support to the overall market, and typically names like this move up alongside of the market. And so that's what we're generally expecting, with the indexes putting in higher lows and higher highs potentially. And so again, we have an inverted head and shoulder here. I would imagine this moves up with the rest of the market. But again, like I mentioned, just keep in mind they do have their earnings on Monday, so you're going to have that in your trade plan. All right, as you guys can see, that was an absolute banger of a trade idea given right here on YouTube. And obviously in our Discord server, it was given there as well. We did over 700% on that particular trade. And I'll just go ahead and tell you guys now, if you're not in our Discord server, you can use the top pinned comment of this video. The Discord server link will be right in there. There's so many different trade ideas that never make it here on YouTube that is given in the Discord server, much like this Palantir trade. So I suggest that you guys definitely take a look into that, into joining the Discord server, so you guys can catch a lot of these particular trade ideas that come from our server. Now, again, as far as Palantir is concerned, obviously we got the nice move up. We did obviously leave this nice earnings gap open below us. As of this moment, it is all-time high, so Palantir is in uncharted territories at this particular time. It will continue likely going up so as long as the AI boom continues to obviously take over here. Now, I will also just mention that, Palantir is going to be subject to lots of volatility. You're going to see lots of wild moves here, but we are in blue sky territory, so it's no telling to see how high Palantir can go from here. Again, if you're still in this particular trade, then you're obviously going to want to stay on the bull until you have a reason not to be. As you can see as well, every candle that we've been getting here on the daily chart has been, basically higher lows, really, right? And we did get a nice little wick down from here, but then just ended with a massive green candle. And I'm going to look for this to continue as long as Palantir keeps this trend and you're able to continue making higher lows and building out new candles like this, right? As long as you don't make a new low in your candle, closing a candle like down here or something like that, then I would just assume that Palantir will obviously continue going higher while in this bull trend. But again, it's not a trade idea that I'm interested in at this particular time. My contracts have expired, and obviously we did collect on that 700%. So again, I'll be looking for new entries on Palantir, but at this particular time, I'm no longer interested in trading it. So good luck to any of you guys who want to continue trading Palantir, and I wish you guys the best. All right, last but certainly not least, I do have one trade idea that I want to throw at you guys, which is Google. Now, I will tell you guys, Google is a slow mover, so again, you are going to have some patience if you are going to be trading Google stock. Now, again, this analysis is going to be taking place on the weekly, so I'll just quickly go over it. As you guys can see, that we are inside of this channel here, right? You have the upper channel here in red, and then you have the lower channel here in green. And as you guys can see, for the most part, right, we have our moving averages here, and you can see that Google basically from September did capture the 20 EMA, and we've been riding that 20 EMA on the weekly chart for quite some time. You can see here, starting with this candle here back in September, and we've just been riding it, and then we got a little bit away from our moving averages here, and through earnings, we were able to sell back down to retest this 20 EMA moving average, right? So again, from here, it does look like we did catch some support here. I do believe this will be a very low risk entry on Google stock, right? And again, keeping in mind that this is a slower mover, this would be a low risk entry on Google stock simply because you do have that 20 EMA here, and you could easily, hold Google for, especially while the indexes are in the bull trend that we're in. You can easily hold Google up here and obviously work its way back to the highs that were put in, and maybe even exceed that if we're in a real bull trend in the first half of this year. We could easily get back up here to this upper trend line, probably at some point by April, May, something like that. That's just a guesstimation. I'm not sure how long that'll take. But as long as we do hold that 20 EMA like we've been doing since September, I think this is a good low risk entry. You're right around that area now, right? And again, we could get a nice weekly candle close here on Google if the market is able to be bullish through all the data that we have in front of us. Now, again, the reason why I say this is low risk is because if we are, if we close the week below the 20 EMA, well, it's a very small minimal loss, right? You can easily stop out just below the 20 EMA. So again, I do think Alphabet is posing a low risk entry, especially if you have time on your contracts, or if you're going to use leverage shares to swing this, for maybe a month or two, or maybe even more than that. So again, I do like Alphabet stock for a bottom picking entry here with a very low risk attempt at getting back to the top of the channel. So that being said, guys, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please be sure to like, comment, and obviously subscribe to this channel. Really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. That being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. God bless and take care.
Perfect.